At New Year's dinner, my mom said, "Your sister's divorced now, so you'll be the one taking care of her and the kids. Simple as that, son." My dad nodded and said, "If you disagree, the door's right there." I said, "Perfect. I'm gone, and you can start paying your own mortgage." Simple as that. My name is Sawyer. I'm 32. I work underground and come home wearing the mind the way some people wear cologne. Youngest of two, son who lifts, fixes, and doesn't complain. The one who learned to count by tallying overtime on the back of crumpled pass stubs. The one who moved back to town when dad hurt his back and mom needed a reliable set of hands. I can carry a 100-pound spool across wet rock without thinking. I can also cut apples small enough that my niece with the missing front tooth won't choke and replace a garbage disposal at midnight because my sister forgot to turn the breaker off and fried it again. I'm the kind of person people call when their car makes a noise and their house makes a smell. In my family, that made me a tool, not a person. We don't have fancy holidays. We have folding tables and a plastic tub of mismatched forks. We have turkey when it's on sale and ham when Frank at the deli owes dad a favor. But New Year's mom insists on candles, paper crowns, and the good plates that were her wedding gift from Aunt Trudy in 1989. She polishes them with the same towel she uses for the dog's paws and says, "Presentation matters." I showed up in my work jacket because the heat in my truck's boots by the door. Mom fussed. "You're tracking in half the county," she said like the dust was a moral failing. Dad turned the TV down, kept the game on mute. My sister Ivy sat at the end of the table with her two kids, one drawing on a napkin, the other chewing pretzels like they were currency. "Hey buddy," Ivy said to me without looking up. "Do you have Zelle?" "Hi to you, too," I said and went to wash my hands. Smell of cabbage rolls, cheap champagne sweating in a plastic bucket. One good knife and 4 dull ones. I carved. Mom hovered. "Thinner," she said. "People are watching their figures." She mint herself, then took the first thick slice and hid it under lettuce. We ate. We did the small talk that isn't small. It's a quiet census. Hours. Extra shifts. Who got written up? Who got written off? Dad asked about a union meeting he never attends. Ivy scrolled her phone with her thumb, jaw tight when we pressed paper crowns to our heads, and Mom flicked off the light for ambiences. She cleared her throat like she was stepping up to a microphone. She likes beginnings. She likes decrees. "Sawyer," she said, "your sister's divorced, and now you'll be supporting her and her kids. Simple as that, son." Forks paused. The game on mute showed a coach yelling into a headset. Dad nodded without looking at me. "If you disagree, the door's right there." I stared at the wax pulling on a bent candle like it had an answer. I'm good with pressure, but surprise is a different weight. The first thing I felt was heat back of the neck, ears, inside the mouth. The second thing was the old muscle memory of saying, "Okay, sure, we'll figure it out." But there was a third thing, stubborn and cold, climbing the spine like a ladder. I put my napkin down. I heard my own voice the way you hear a shovel hit steel. "Perfect," I said. "I'm gone, and you can start paying your own mortgage." Simple as that. I didn't stand. Not yet. Not on the hook. I just let the words sit there right in the center of the table between the gravy boat and the bowl of store-bought clella. Mom sprinkled with paprika to make it look homemade. Ivy blinked finally. Dad reached for his glass like it could save him. Mom smiled. Slow and dangerous. The smile she uses before she pulls a record from when I was 16 to prove I'm still a child. The room held its breath. Mine didn't. I tucked it into my chest and waited for the next line in a script I hadn't agreed to anymore. I became the reliable one because I learned early that the reliable one gets the least trouble and the most tasks. Growing up, Dad said, "A man provides." He never clarified who for. He meant for the house to feel calm. He meant for Mom to have less to do. He meant for Ivy to keep her smile. He meant for himself to watch TV without interruption. We weren't broke, but we were always one thing away. Alternator, roof leak, braces. Then the plant shut down when I was 16, and Dad went self-employed, which meant he wore work boots to the bar and told anyone who'd listen he was waiting on a call. Mom picked up shifts at the craft store and learned to weaponize coupons. I learned there's a different kind of poverty when everyone still wants to be seen as middle class. It makes people mean. I started at the mine the summer after high school. If you weren't going to college, you went down or you left town. I went down the first day. The foreman said, "You'll smell like this forever." He was right. Even after 3 showers, my pillow had a shadow. In the cage, packed shoulder to shoulder with men who chew toothpicks like contracts. I found a strange quiet. It's loud down there, but it's honest. Rock is rock. Weight is weight. You don't have to guess what it wants. I paid rent at home because Dad called it contributing. When a pipe burst in winter, I called the plumber, paid cash. Then Dad told the family he'd handled it. It was smoother that way. When Ivy turned 19 and wanted something with peace and light, she moved into a place with questionable outlets. I handed over my extra space heater and said, "Keep it on low." Months later, I saw it in Mom's garage sale for $2. "It's not safe," she said, taking the money. Ivy married a guy named Sean who could charm the hair off a dog. He called me big man and borrowed tools he never returned. Their wedding was a potluck in a rented hall. Dad cried when he gave the toast. He didn't cry when I got my permanent badge. 2 years into their marriage, I started paying for little things because it was easier than watching Ivy cry. First, it was a daycare deposit, just until his check cleared. Then, a car seat, because safety. Then, the ER copay when my niece fell off the monkey bars. I paid because I love those kids, and because I understand numbers in a way Mom never respected. Mom graduated from hints to expectations so quietly I didn't notice. Grab milk on your way. The school's asking for a donation. Put your name, but we'll all feel good. You know your father's back. I learned to carry things with one hand and guilt with the other. AT work. I made lead. I trained the new guys. I volunteered for shut-ins and holiday shifts because the pay was better and the noise kept my mind from spinning. Underground, I could read the day. Check the air. Check the line. Mind the roof. Mind your hands. Above ground. The rules were trickier. Don't show off that, don't out-earn your father, don't embarrass your sister. Don't say no that if you say no, you think you're better that I did okay. Not buy a boat okay. But replace my tires without an anxiety attack okay. I built a sinking fund in an ugly green binder with tabs. I once offered to refinance the house in my name after Dad got a letter with red text. He refused. A man pays his own mortgage, he said, while hiding a check from his mother in a cookbook. When Ivy's marriage cracked, it was like hearing a rock pop in the walls before the roof caves in. You feel it in your teeth. Sean needed time to find himself, which meant a roommate and a scooter. He posted smoothies. Ivy posted single mom memes and texted me, "Can you cover gas till Friday?" Fridays multiplied. Mom's script shifted. Sawyer, family comes first. Your sister needs stability. The kids need routine. It's what Grandpa would have wanted. Grandpa left us his tools and his stories, not the right to put someone on direct debit. The family group chat became a ledger with emojis. If I paid, thumbs up. If I hesitated, silence. Then a call from Dad. You know how your mother worries. Ivy and I are only 18 months apart, but in Mom's story, she's always just figuring things out, and I'm always the fixer. That's my gift. For a long time, I mistook being needed for being loved. One night in November, I got home at 2 a.m. after a double. My boot heel left a crescent on the mat. On the counter, a note in Mom's handwriting, torn from a yellow legal pad. Took your debit. We'll put it back Monday. Quick math in the morning said she'd paid the minimum on a department store card we don't use. Emergency only. Then bought curtains because the light is rude in the living room. When I brought it up, she laughed. You're so sensitive. December came. I opened my mail over the sink because if you cry into dishwater, it doesn't count. The envelope had a bank logo I didn't recognize. Welcome to your home equity line of credit. That I don't own a home. Dad had added my name to an application package. I learned that phrase after spending my whole lunch break on hold. It's just to consolidate, Dad said later. Phone crooked between ear and shoulder. Names don't mean much. You'll thank me when the rate dips. I didn't thank him. I froze like a man who hears a crack in the dark. Then December turned to New Year's. Mom set the table like a magazine, sticky but trying. I walked in with my boots still damp and hope still thin, which brings us to the candlelight. The paper crowns. Mom's mouth finding a script she thought would be met with bowed heads. Your sister's divorced, she said. And now you'll be supporting her and her kids. The thing about pressure is, you can feel when it's not safe. In the air, in the sounds that don't belong. You step back. You brace. You don't pretend it's fine. That I'd kept walking head down for years. That night, I stopped. Dad said, if you disagree, the door's right there. The door had always been right there. I just hadn't wanted to see it that I didn't flip the table or shout. Underground, panic gets people hurt. You keep your voice low so others lower theirs. I said. Let's be clear. Supporting my niece and nephew is my choice, not your decree. And while we're making declarations, call the bank tomorrow. Tell them you forged my name. Tell them to remove it. Fork scrape. Glass sweat. Silence. Mom blinked like a cat in sunlight. Forged, such a dramatic word. It's family business, Sawyer. It's fraud. I said. Dad's jaw went sideways. Watch your tone. No, I said. Watch your paperwork. Ivy finally spoke, voice small but sharp. Can you not do this right now? The kids are here. Ivy, I said softly, I love them. That doesn't mean I'm your wallet. Her eyes filled. Of course they did. What am I supposed to do? Sean's gone. My hours got cut. Mom said. I know what Mom said. I cut in. Mom says a lot. Mom also said she'd borrow my card and put it back Monday. Mom bristled. I wrote you a note. You wrote me a note. I agreed. Dad leaned back, played the patriarch. Here's what's going to happen, he said. You'll deposit half your check into your mother's account each pay period. We'll distribute as needed. Keeps things simple. You minors don't track things anyway. I laughed. It surprised me. I have ledgers. You have vibes. Dad's face shifted. He was losing the room he thought he owned. That he raised his voice. If you walk out that door, don't come crawling back when you realize we were right. Right about what? I asked if I was only valuable when I paid for the privilege to sit at their table. Mom's smile vanished. You ungrateful boy. We raised you. We fed you. You fed me hamburger helper, I said, and told me to be thankful for a roof paid with a loan. You raised me to be your backup plan. Her chair scraped. Get out. Gladly, I said. I stood, pulled out my phone, and canceled the auto transfers for their bills. Then I turned off my card from Mom's wallet. Her phone pinged. What did you do? I stopped being your ATM. Dad pointed to the door. You're making a big mistake. Probably, I said. But it'll be mine. Ivy's voice cracked. Sawyer, please. The rent. Text me a lease, I said. Directly from your landlord. I'll help till March, then we're doing a budget. I'll babysit for interviews, but I'm done funding Mom's curtains. Mom slammed the table. Don't talk to her like she's a child. She's not, I said. That's the point. Dad grabbed the plate like it was sacred. You think you're better than us? I think I'm tired, I said. And done. I left a folded paper by his fork, the forged loan papers, circled in red. A note. Police report drafted. File tomorrow if not resolved. Dad swallowed. Mom's eyes flicked. That's a low blow. Call it a boundary. I looked at the kids. Hey nerds. Lego sets in the truck. We'll build it this weekend. We're not nerds, one said. We're wolves. Even better, I said, and walked out into the cold air. Mom hissed something about throwing family away. Dad shouted, don't come back. Happy New Year, I said to the night. The silence after wasn't the hardest part. It was how loud everything got. Notifications, guilt texts, and voicemails about being dramatic. At work, I told my supervisor I couldn't swap shifts for school pickup anymore. He nodded. You good? Better than last week. Ivy sent a picture of her lease. I sent January's rent and a budgeting template. She texted LOL. Not a joke. I replied. Mom called my boss. He said, she wanted me to talk sense into you. I told him, I manage schedules, not souls. Dad texted a picture of the power bill. Hope this makes you happy. I replied with the forged signature and call the bank that he finally called. You really did it. I really did. You want to send me to jail? I want my name off your debt. Mom showed up with a cake. You look thin. This place is depressing. It's mine, I said. You can't mean to abandon your family. I'm trying not to lose another 10 years fixing problems that aren't mine. She set the cake down. Do you know how you sound? Like someone with a spine. She tried tears, then anger, then guilt. We kept a roof over your head. And reminded me every day, I said. Like rent with interest. You're so dramatic. Mom, I said quietly. You took my card. I left a note. You added my name to a loan. It's family business, Mom said. It's crime. She grabbed the cake and stormed out. I ate a peanut butter sandwich and listened to the neighbor's dog bark like it agreed with me. 2 nights later, Ivy showed up with laundry and the kids. They jumped on my couch like a trampoline. She stood in the doorway, tired. I'm sorry, she said. I shouldn't have let Mom talk to you that way. I know, I said. She said you had savings. I have a 3-month emergency fund, I said. It took 5 years. It's for transmissions and wrists, not curtains. She laughed and cried at once. I hate her curtains.